has been reported that quorum does exist for the Finance and Public Accounts Committee to commence business. Those in favor, please say aye. And not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. On that note, welcome to the meeting. NAO and National Audit must apologize that we are struggling to get quorum. Some of our members are carrying meetings, and by virtue of that, it will be difficult for them also to leave those meetings and then join us. And that caused the delay. Most commend the chairpersons who actually leave their meeting to join us. Otherwise, it will be difficult to continue with the meeting. Let me apologize for that delay. I don't know whether we have the board represented.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning. The Honorable Minister said he'll be here in 5 minutes. Yes, 5 minutes, yes. Yeah, the board representative, the council representative, yes. In 5 minutes, yes. Yeah, what is it? Yeah, this council, we have a council. Yes, the council. No, the Honorable Minister is the one coming. No, no. Yeah, he said in 5 minutes. Yes. Well, he told me 11, so 11 hopefully is just around. It's coming from 3. Anyway. I think the minister, let me just, before we go there,
Thank you very much. The meeting continues. We've already adopted the agenda. We read once more. We don't adopt the agenda. Huh? We don't. We only open the prayers, and then the agenda before us reads. Individual prayers, review and adoption of the agenda, administration of oath or affirmation, introduction of participants, presentation of annual reports, financial statements, and management letters of the National Environment Agency 2021 to 2023, and any other business. Can any honorable member move that we adopt the agenda? I move that. Seconder. It has been moved and seconded that the agenda be adopted. Those in favor, please say aye. And not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. On that note, the agenda is adopted. On that note, where we are right now, we've dealt with item 1 and item 2. Now we are going to item 3, that is administrative oath or affirmation. The clerk can now go down and administer the oath or affirmation. It will be joined, please. All the witnesses can stand and the clerk will be administering the oath or affirmation. Thank you very much. The next item is introduction of participants. To begin with, the names. My own is Haji Estavo, the chairperson of the committee.
Good morning, I'm Suleiman Jambe, member of the committee.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I am Honorable Tamsir Cham, a co-opted member.
Good morning, I'm Dr. Ali Ufal, subject matter specialist.
Good morning, Mohamed Sawane, GBPA.
Good morning to you all. I am Jamila Udum from GBPA.
Good morning, Serik Mas Jaga, Director of Audit.
Good morning, everyone. Sarah Monday, National Audit Office.
Good morning, Abdou Diouf, Auditor, Hard & Co.
Good morning, Rohia Taseka, Hard & Co.
Good morning, I am Omar Si, Director of Chemical Service Network, National Environment Agency.
Good morning, honorable members. My name is Njaga Toure, Deputy Executive Director, NEA.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Dauda Badi, Executive Director of National Environment Agency.
Chair Motsise, Honorable Minister of Trade, for deputizing for Mrs. Swami John Mata, Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources, and also member of the Environment Council.
Good morning, I am Ibrahim Ake, Bojan, Director of Admin and Finance, National Environment Agency.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Lamin Kamara, Director of Intersectoral Network Services, National Environment Agency.
Good morning, I am Amfal Conte, Senior Executive Secretary and Personal Assistant to the Executive Director.
Good morning, I am Usman Jubake, Senior Accountant, National Environmental Agency.
Good morning, my name is Aji Awajabo, Finance Manager, National Environment Agency.
much. We can proceed. The next item, and the main for that matter, presentation of annual reports, financial statements, and management letters of the National Environment Agency 21 to 23. We begin with 21, and the presentation take the form. We begin with the finance, management, and then last the activity report. 2021. Financial statement, management letter, and then the activity report. When we are done with that, then we go to 22 and then finally 23. Presentation will take the form of summary. And for the management letter, we don't need to the audit, we do not need to respond to the queries for now until when we are doing the consideration. Sorry, management will not be responding to the queries. We only read the findings and then recommendation. Then we serve the response until the consideration. Then, Honorable Minister, you will lead in the presentation, and for whom that will be assigned for the presentation. For the finance, give us the summary as well as the activity report.
As usual, please, Chair, Honorable Chair and members of the Fpac, Honorable members of National Assembly, special advisors or experts, auditors, EPPA representatives, distinguished colleagues, senior government officials, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to appear before this August body today in my capacity as Deputizing Minister responsible for the environment and as a member of the National Environment Management Council to formally open the presentation of National Environment Agency Activity and Financial Statement reports covering the period 2021 to 2024. At the outset, allow me to acknowledge and commend the Finance and Public Accounts Committee for its critical oversight role in promoting transparency, accountability, and prudent use of public resources. The engagement of Fpac with institutions such as the NEA strengthens democratic governance and ensures that national development efforts are aligned with interests of the Gambian people. The reporting period before us reflects years of both challenge and consolidation. Between 2021 and 2023, the NEA operated within a complex national and global context, marked by climate variability, increasing environmental pressures, and rising public expectation for effective regulation and service delivery. Despite these challenges, NEA continued to discharge its statutory mandate as provided for under the National Environment Management Act, Cap 72, Chapter 1, or Section 1, by strengthening environmental governance, improving regulatory oversight, expanding stakeholder engagement, and coordinating national obligations under multilateral environment agreements. The report to be presented provides a comprehensive account of NEA performance across key thematic areas including environmental impact assessment, pollution control, chemicals, waste management, environmental education, natural resource governance, and the implementation of
Management of the National Environment Agency of the President. Well, it is a pleasure to be here with you to present this annual activity report of the National Environment Agency for the period 31st of January 1st to 31st December 2021. And the report goes as thus. First, you have a fulfillment of the statutory requirement obligation under the National Environment Management Act to provide the National Assembly with an overview of NEA's performance in 2021, and we highlight the achievements, challenges, lessons learned, and policy-related recommendations. Under the mandate of the National Environment Agency, sorry, yeah. Okay, then maybe.
Hello? Good one.
We have the activity report first. Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Legal mandate. The National Environment Agency is established under the National Environment Management Act 1994 and mandated to coordinate, regulate, and enforce environmental management nationwide, and responsible for reporting annually to the National Assembly to ensure transparency and accountability. The NEA has the oversight function of the National Environment Management Council, which serves as the oversight function of the National Environment Agency. And then you have two technical networks responsible for implementation and coordination. And this is supported by the Director of Admin and Head of Finance also to ensure effective service delivery in terms of financial management. The program implementation framework carry out two thematic environmental programs, that is the TSN, that is Technical Services Network, and also the Intersectoral Services Network. And under that also you have what you call the technical working groups, enhanced inter-ministerial coordination. And we also have what in regional offices that also support the decentralization process and monitoring of environmental issues across the country. So the Technical Services Network overview serves as the regulatory and enforcement arm of the agency, ensures compliance with environmental laws, standards, and regulations, and respond to increasing development and other environmental pressures across the country. Under the Technical Services Network, we have the Environmental Impact Assessment that ensures environmental sound decision-making for development projects.
Executive Director, are you reading from the report or you have?
No, actually I summarized the report, actually.
Yeah, you can provide that copy to the committee.
Yeah. Okay. For the presentation. Okay. Okay, then I'll do that. Yes. So under the year review 2021, the total of 56 EIA applications were received and reviewed in 2021, and this was actually emphasis on the public participation and mitigation of environmental issues. And 40 projects, out of that 40 projects were approved following satisfactory assessment. 4 projects were rejected due to unacceptable environmental risks, and 12 applications pending conditional information, and then key sectors included fuel stations, manufacturing, and quarrying activity. Under the environmental quality program, focuses on pollution control, environmental sanitation aspect. 331 environmental complaints were addressed nationwide, and 12 community cleansing exercises were also registered in 2021. Under the environmental quality as well, you have liquid and solid waste management, air pollution controls, as well as support in community-led environmental cleanliness initiative, which we also normally do in most of these communities. Also under the chemical and hazardous chemical and pesticide control program, regulation and licensing of chemicals and pesticides, 33 pesticides licenses were issued in 2021, which we also strengthened the compliance with the safety standard as well, dealing with communities in terms of how they can be safe in using some of these chemical products. Upgrading of the obsolete pesticide storage facilities, as well as nationwide sensitization on safe chemical handling and use over the year, in that year. We also have the ozone depleting substance program, which is basically involved in the implementation of the Gambia obligation to the Montreal Protocol, and also monitoring hazardous what you call HCFCs, which is hydrofluorocarbons, imports and consumption. Basically, the hydrofluorocarbons are what we use in our air conditioning, fridges, and other things, which also have a long-term implication on our ozone layer. So we normally regulate that one. And the prevention of illegal trade in control of substances as well that are that's supposed not to be entering into the country, which we work with the police and the customs and other law enforcement institutions. And training of refrigeration and air conditioning technicians across the country, as well as recorded HCFCs consumption of 3.5 metric tons in 2021. On environmental policy and legislation, review and upgrading of legal instruments, and that also led to the review of the National Environment Management Act, which is still under review by the national updated one in 2024, and also we have the Hazardous Chemical and Pesticide Control Management Act that is also under review, almost at the final stage, as well as the waste management bill also, which is also submitted to this August body. The revision of environmental impact assessment regulation also is also part of the work that has started since 2021, and development of a waste management and vehicle importation regulation also, which is also started since 2021. So under the intersectoral services network, coordination and environmental mainstreaming across sectors, work closely with ministries, departments and agencies, NGOs and development partners, support sustainable national development agenda. And then you have, under that, you have what we call the Agriculture and Natural Resources Program, monitoring environmental and social management plans of approved projects. Usually projects that are approved are usually given an usually been monitored to see whether they are of environmental compliance. And also in that year, 4 monitorings were conducted in 2021, and quarterly environment, agriculture and natural resources working group meetings also were held there. So ANR key assessment basically is supported the establishment of 5 local environment committees in Central River region, where we want to put environmental issues to the grassroots level so that people can take care of whatever situation that they find themselves when it comes to environmental matter. Strengthening community-based environmental governance also as well. Under the environmental education and communication, we have what you call school-based environmental education and outreach. 50 schools engaged nationwide in that process. And then it's also involved in public sensitization, where we use radio station, like 20 radio station and television programs aired, focus on plastic ban, anti-littering regulations, and waste management mechanisms. So under the environmental information system, you have also strengthened environmental data management and GIS mapping. Mapping of quarries, dump sites, schools, and fuel stations across the country, and improve evidence-based decision-making process. So we also have, under the project aspect, we have at that time, we have 4 projects that we have the Global Climate Change Alliance, we call GCCA Plus, and also Jeff 6 under the large land change certificate. That is also been, and also you have polyclonal biphenyls, as well as unintentional persistent organic pollutant project, which you call POPs in short. Basically, the global GCCA Plus is basically involved in our coastal and marine environment management to see with stakeholders on how we can strengthen our community management of environment around the coast. Under the Jeff 6 also involved working with the concentrate in CRR North, working with the station to establish eco-based solutions to environmental problems across the country. And the PCB and UPOPs project is basically trying to limit our PCBs, that is, these are oil that are found in transformers, which we use in electricity, as well as unintended persistent organic pollutants. Usually when we burn the waste, there are certain chemicals that are coming out of that waste that we inhale. So that we try to, that project is intended to address those aspects. And a lot of achievements have been done. 2 of the projects have already phased out, except one which is also about to phase out in the next few months, which is GF6. Key challenges include funding constraint from the agency's point of view. During that period, we really have a lot of issues when it comes to funding, as we have very limited, and also have a lot of capacity gaps at that time in terms of managing some of certain areas that will make our institution work. Lesson highlight the importance of collaborations and public awareness. It is also added that at least it is important that when you coordinate, collaborate with institutions, with stakeholders, you are likely to succeed compared when you are working alone. And also realize that it involves a lot of awareness, like we had what you call Catch Them Young initiative also as well, using schools and also using the clergy, the imams or whatever, to ensure to support in awareness creation as well. So strategic recommendations: strengthen the sustainable financing mechanism, and that NEA is looking into how can we have sustainable financial mechanism, which as we move along with those steps have been taken over the years since 2021. Enhance enforcement powers through legal reforms. And then that also, because we also, this legal reform, the laws that are under you, currently have a lot of other things that need to be looked into in order for us to be able to perform our statutory requirement. Invest in laboratory equipment and human resource capacity. And over the years also, we realize that we need this laboratory to be able to analyze on science-based mechanism to be able to give informed decision. So this requires certain equipment as well as building the capacity of the people. And then as of now, over the years, you'll see that that have been done as we move along. So in conclusion, 2021 recorded a strong program delivery despite constraint. And you can remember 2021 also, we are just almost coming from COVID. It actually affected a lot of activities as well. So NEA remains a central to environmental governance, continued support from the National Assembly member and any other body particularly this important body, is critical towards the achievement of aspiration of the National Environment Agency in addressing its mandate, creating a conducive environment for everybody to cherish. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Can provide the copy to the committee. Executive Director, I think if you have a copy, you can provide that.
Yes, I have sent to you to print all these things.
So we go to the financial statement audit.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and honorable members. With your permission, I will read the first two paragraphs. The other ones are standard paragraphs. Independent Auditor's Report.
Page.
This is on page 5.
The number is not clear here. The paging is not clear here. What is the heading there?
Independent Auditor's Report.
Okay. Independent Auditor's Report. So you can see the heading. The paging is not clear, but the heading is Independent Auditor's Report. Is the fifth lead. Can proceed.
Independent Auditor's Report to the members of the National Environment Agency. Qualified opinion. We have audited the financial statements of the National Environment Agency, which comprises the Statement of Financial Position as at 31st December 2021. The Statement of Financial Position, Statement of Changes in Net Assets, and Statement of Cash Flows for the year then ended, and notes to the financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, except for the effects of the matters described in the basis for qualified opinion section of our report, the accompanying financial statement gives a true and fair view of the financial position of the agency as at 31st December 2021, and its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and have been properly prepared in accordance with the NEMA Act 1994. Basis for qualified opinion. Valuation and recognition of properties. The agency has 7 landed properties, including its head office, 6 of which are leased to the agency. These properties were allocated to the agency through the government of the Gambia for the construction of administrative offices in previous years. As of the reporting date, these properties are yet to be valued and recognized in the accompanying financial statement, which is a departure from basic accounting principles. Had these properties been valued, there would have been a material increase in the value of landed properties and income/accumulated funds in the financial statements. If you turn to the next page, I just want to highlight the other 2 paragraphs, the first 2 paragraphs, emphasis of matter base of accounting. We draw attention to note 2.1 of the financial statement, which describes the base of accounting and the absence of an adopted financial reporting framework. The emphasis of matter paragraph is highlighting the fact that the 2020 audited accounts were qualified based on similar grounds, and also additional differences noted on the project account balances. Thank you very much.
Good morning to you all. The financial statement for the National Environment Agency for the year 2021 has a total income of 47,503,400. Page 7. It's a statement of financial performance. Yeah, the total income for 2021 is 47,503,496, comprised of Gambia government subvention of 26.3 million, fees and charges of 19.9 million, other income of 1.2 million. The total expenditure for the same year or the same period is 46,424,698, which comprise of wages, salaries, and employment benefit of 26.0 million, general and administrative expenses of 17.4 million, and seasons and amortization of 3.0 million, which gives leaves us with a surplus for the year of 1.08 million. So there is the same year for the statement of financial position. The total non-current asset is 26.4 million, and the total current asset is 7.67 million. Total asset of 34.08 million. We have an accumulated fund of 18.8 million, with a total current liabilities of 9.85 million. We are on a total non-current liabilities of 15.27 million. Putting together, we have a total accumulated fund and liabilities of 34 million of the same as the total assets. So under the same year, the statement of cash flows. We have net cash from operating activities of 2.57 million, and a total from net cash used in financing activities of 5.27 million, with a net cash used in financing activities as 4.37 million. There's a net increase in cash and net increase in cash and cash equivalent of 1.67 million, and the cash brought forward from last year of 4.68 million, leaving was the cash at the end of the period of 6.35 million. I think that's it, because the others are the notes to the account.
The management letter, we start from page 3. Page 3. The first point is on the proceedings of the National Environment Management Council. According to Section 8, subsection 1 of the Act, the Council should meet at least every 3 months. But we noted that the Council only met once during the year. The implication? The absence of meetings and minutes indicate that the Council has not fulfilled its function as stated in Section 7 of the Act. which we believe could lead to both strategic and operational challenges for the agency. Recommendation. The Governing Council should meet every 3 months and ensure minutes are maintained as required by the Act. On the second point is long outstanding check lodgements. We observe that the following check deposits made into the Trust Bank 104 bank account were still outstanding at the time of our audit. The total of these checks are 52,200. Our recommendation is management should follow up with the bank to ensure these funds are credited into the agency's account. The third point is absence of CCTV cameras within the agency. There are no CCTV cameras in place to secure and monitor the movement of staff within the agency. Our recommendation is management should consider installing CCTV cameras to supplement the existing security personnel in place. Point number 4, absence of justification of fuel issued to senior government officials or council members. We noted that fuel coupons worth 180,000 were issued to one of the ministers and the vice president. However, management did not provide us with a justification for the purpose why these monthly allocations were made. Our recommendation, management should ensure that fuel procured for the activities of the agency are used for those purposes. Point 5, vehicle maintenance contract. We noted that the agency does not have a contract with the auto mechanics that carry out the maintenance of its motor vehicle fleet. During the year, a total of 1.8 million was spent on vehicle maintenance. Our recommendation, management should ensure that contracts are developed to specify the responsibility of the parties. Mechanics should also be assessed to ascertain whether they are qualified to undertake such services. Point number 6, payment of honorarium. We noted payment of honorarium of 636,350 during the year under review. However, there is no policy on the payment of honorarium. Our recommendation, management should develop a policy that specifies under what conditions honorarium should be paid and the amounts. Point 7, annual budgets and variance reports. We noted with concern that the agency did not prepare an annual budget for the year under review. Periodic management accounts were also not prepared and presented to neither the council nor the finance committee. Our recommendation, management should prepare annual budgets every year and present it to the council for approval. Monthly or at least quarterly management accounts should be prepared, including variance reports are presented to the council. Whistleblowing process. The agency does not have a whistleblowing policy and procedures in place. There is also no other safe option for members of staff to report improper business conduct within the agency, and those charged with governance are rarely accessible. Our recommendation, management should develop a whistleblowing policy and procedures for reporting improper business practices. This process should ensure protection and identity of reporting officers and guarantees reprisal. Absence of a risk management framework. Point 9, the agency does not have a formal policy of identifying business risk, evaluating such risk, and putting in place adequate internal controls to mitigate those risks. Our recommendation, management should develop a formal process for mitigating risk. Environmental impact assessment approvals. During our review of the developer's file, we noted the following. Project briefs were not submitted by the developers of projects provided for under Part A. For projects requiring an environmental impact assessment, invitation for comments from the public were not made in the newspapers and radio stations during the year. The EIA approvals granted during the year were not gazetted and published in the mass media within 3 months of the date of issuance. Recommendation, management should ensure that the procedures are being followed as per the Act in relation to the approval of developers. Misclassification and inadequate description of transactions. Our review of the general ledger accounts provided for audit confirms inadequate description of transactions in the account. A significant number of transactions were also found to be posted or classified in the wrong accounts. Recommendation, Management should accelerate the procurement of an accounting software. Transaction posted should be adequately described and thoroughly reviewed by senior finance staff. Point 13, impress management. We noted that impress issued to staff were expensed rather than maintained in an impress receivable account until retired. Although a journal was raised to classify the impress identified during the audit, retirements of these amounts were not provided for our review. So we had 122,000 impress that were issued, which we couldn't confirm retirements. Management should ensure the outstanding impresses are retired as soon as possible or recovered from the respective staff salaries. The agency should have an impress policy and ensure retirements are made immediately after the activity, ideally not later than 2 weeks after completion of implementation. The other points are the status on the prior year points. Thank you very much.
So, thank you very much, Chair. And, this one also will follow the same line of presentation, and then I've already asked my PA to go and make some copies so that they can supply those copies. It's a summarized version. So, the National Environment Agency, some of the activities for 2022. Yes, but I've already asked my PA to go and do the copies right away. So, purpose of the presentation, that is a successful retirement as earlier mentioned, and highlight key achievements and challenges in 2022 and inform policy directions and resource allocation. And the legal mandate actually look into what I mentioned earlier on, established under the National Environment Management Act 1994, coordinate, regulate, and enforce environmental management in the Gambia, and oversees compliance and with national and international obligations. And the agency has a vision, which is livable and sustainable environment for all. And our mission is promote sound environmental practices. And we have a value, which is integrity, teamwork, and innovation, and professionalism. So the governance structure, you have the National Environment Management Council as the overall oversight body. And this is followed by, you have the Admin and Finance Committee, which is more of a subsector of the council. And then you have the Executive Director and the Technical Directorates. Then on the organizational structure, you have the Technical Services Directorate, Intersectoral Services Directorate, as well as the Director of Admin and Head of Finances. And then you have, this is strengthened, and the performance snapshots basically involve the strengthening the regulations and enforcement, expanded community outreach, and improve intersectoral coordination. Under the environmental impact assessment, key results. In year 2022, we have almost 66 EIA application process. 36 approvals were granted with conditions. And also we have a safeguard ensures for major development projects also undergo through through environmental impact assessment. Under the environmental quality program, enforcement of anti-littering and waste regulations, community cleansing services supported, and public sensitization via radios and TV. So details of those things are actually reflected in the report. Under the inspectorate, that is more of our police unit, 256 environmental complaints were received, 225 cases were resolved through inspection, and the rest is also, during the monitoring, they also trying to strengthen compliance by engaging the community to do the needful when it comes to environmental management. Under the hazardous chemicals and pesticide control program, around 220 pesticide licenses were issued, and also involved the development of a national asbestos inventory conducted, which is to assess the number of asbestos we have across the country, and also have engaging people with compliance on environmental, improved chemical compliance, engaging stakeholders on how they can be compliant on when dealing with the chemicals. Also, under the hazardous chemical program, we have the capacity building training of inspectors and enforcement officers on chemical management, cross-border monitoring, and strengthening of our officers, as well as public sensitization conducted nationwide on issues related to chemical management, among other things. Under the National Ozone Program, monitoring ODS, ozone depleting substances, and hydrofluorocarbons imports in the country, training of technicians and custom officers on ODS, ozone depleting substances, as well as engaging on licensing and quota system enforced through the GRA, the customs. Under the intersectoral service, which is more of a coordinating role, mainstream environment and interdevelopment sectors, collaboration with the ministries and departments, as well as the agencies, NGOs and CSOs, CBOs, on how we can work together on environmental management. And then support to sustainable resource management on how we can be able to utilize our resources in a sustainable manner. Agriculture and natural resources, we have ESMP, Environment and Social Management Monitoring of Agricultural Projects, Local Environment Committee established, which also strengthened from 2022 into other regions, and we have community governance strengthened also at regional level. So under the environmental education and communication, 103 schools were engaged nationwide on environmental, we call them Catch Them Young initiative. And then 64 radio and 11 TV station programs were conducted in 2022. And public awareness using different other means also were also significantly improved during the period. Environmental information system, that is the GIS mapping of quarries and project sites, inspector trained on GPS and GIS technologies, and data-driven decision-making process that also help us in terms of taking decision using the GIS or GPS applications. Under the coastal and marine environment, monitoring, we conducted almost 35 coastal monitoring at the coastal site, community engagement on erosion issues around the coast, and support the IZZM or IZZ, that Integrated Coastal Zone Management Planning, on sectors that involved in that. Okay, key inadequate and inconsistent funding. Over the past, in 2022, we also reported a lot of very inadequate funding that also has limited the agency in terms of doing its mandate, and also limited laboratory and logistic capacity. We had a lab which also had a lot of limited facilities in terms of to carry out those laboratory equipment, and also the number of personnel that supposed to run the lab becomes a challenge, and weak enforcement powers. Over the years, we also realized that our laws have some weakness, which also limit us in terms of doing our mandate, which is actually being worked on as we move along. Hopefully, when these new laws are enforced or are adopted, we'll be able to carry out grocery without much of the problem that we are facing. And lessons learned, as earlier mentioned, collaboration is key in terms of environmental enforcement. And that is something that has really improved us a lot when it comes to our effective and efficient use of whatever we can do to address environmental problem. And also learn creating awareness, increasing awareness also involve a lot of compliance as well. When people are aware of certain things, we sort of create a lot of awareness. And also project enhance institutional capacity. We also realize that some of the projects have also helped a lot in terms of supporting, in terms of funding to support some of these staff to carry out their work through capacity building and other related matters. So strategic recommendation, basically as earlier on, looking at how we can strengthen our sustainable financing so that the government cannot do it alone. How can we also get other means of support to be able to carry out our work? Enhance our enforcement powers, which is also how we can work with all the necessary stakeholders to enforce, which currently is being done because we have almost a police unit within our agency as well. Invest in laboratory, and that is very, very important. A lot of investment also has been done over the years to strengthen our laboratory operations as we move along. So in conclusion, strong program delivery, as I earlier mentioned, at least we are also remains central towards environmental governance in this country, and continued national, and also require that continued National Assembly support which we will receive, to be honest. And that support is still needed to ensure that we're able to do what we're supposed to do in delivering our service as per our mandate. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's on page 4 of the report. Independent Auditor's Report is on the Independent Auditor's Report to the members of the National Environment Agency, qualified opinion. We have audited the financial statements of the National Environment Agency, which comprise the Statement of Financial Position as at 31st December 2022, the Statement of Financial Performance, Statement of Changes in Net Assets, and the Statement of Cash Flows for the year then ended, and notes to the financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, except for the effects of the matter described in the base of qualified opinion section of our report, the accompanying financial statement gives a true and fair view of the financial position of the agency as at 31st December 2022, and its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and have been properly prepared in accordance with the NEMA Act 1994. Base for qualified opinion, valuation and recognition of properties. The agency has 7 landed properties, including its head office, 6 of which are leasehold properties. These properties were allocated to the agency through the government of the Gambia for the construction of administrative offices in previous years. As of the reporting date, these properties are yet to be valued and recognized in the accompanying financial statement, which is a departure from basic accounting principles. Had these properties been valued, there would have been a material increase in the value of landed properties and income accumulated fund in the financial statements. The other paragraphs are the same. Emphasis of matter paragraph is detailing the absence of an adopted financial reporting framework, whereas the emphasis of matter paragraph, qualified audit report, is referencing the qualified audit report in the prior years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The financial statement for the NEA, the agency for year ending December 2022, the agency has a total income of 57.26 million, which comprises of the Gambia government subvention of 22.48 million, fees and charges of 33.37 million, other income of 1.4 million. On the same year, the agency has spent a total expenditure of 50 million, 50.4 million, which comprises of the wages, salaries, and employee benefit of 26.2 million, general and administrative expenses of 21.9 million, depreciation amortization of 2.22 million, leaving the agency with a net surplus of 6.846 million. In page 8, the financial position of the same year, the same financial year, the agency has a total non-current asset of 30.046 million, a total of 12.934 million of current assets, leaving the agency with a total assets of 42.98 million against the accumulated funds and liabilities of which accumulated fund is 24.150 million, and total current liabilities of 13.829 million, and total non-current liabilities of 18.829 million, leaving the same balance of 42.98 million as the total assets of the same year. On page 9, the statement of cash flows. The agency has, under the same year, the agency has a net cash from operating activities of 3.008 million, net cash used in financing activities of 5.866 million, and net cash used in financing, that is, we have zero balance on the net cash used in financing activities. The net increase in cash and cash equivalent of that year is negative 2.85 million, and cash and cash equivalent from the brought forward from last year is 6.351 million, leaving the cash and cash equivalent balance at the end of the year of 3.493 million. That's it. The rest is our notes to the accounts.
Auditor, I observed the two and the email on the same booklet. So I'll suggest that we have the activity read, then the finance, and then we last week email for 2 and 3, right? So exactly that we can go to 2023 activity.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Chair. I think with your permission, from the beginning, I may go to page 6 of my presentation, because the other ones almost follow the same pattern in terms of. So, thank you very much. 2023 performance snapshot: increase in regulatory enforcement in 2023, and also expanded stakeholder engagement, improved project delivery and reporting. Under the year, we have 44 EIA application process, 21 approved, 22 pending, and 1 application rejected. Improvement in 2020, better public consultation processes, stronger post-EIA monitoring, and reduce application backlog. Environmental quality and inspectorate comparison, 452 complaints were received, 421 were resolved, 15 were referred to relevant institutions, and 12 pending. Higher resolution rate in terms of addressing issues, and more inspection and enforcement actions in 2023. Environmental quality program, stronger enforcement of anti-littering laws, expanded community exercises, cleansing exercises, improve collaboration with local government authorities or local authorities. Under the hazardous chemicals and pesticide program, we have 56 pesticide licenses were issued. The asbestos inventory that was started in 2021 were completed, and improved licensing efficiency, stronger compliance and monitoring also enhanced in 2023. Under the hazardous chemicals program, enhanced inspector training also, improve cross-border control, and increase public awareness on chemical safety. This is actually very important. Now we normally get people calling us from the border when illegal chemicals are being imported. Under the ozone program, we have 70 refrigeration and air conditioning technicians who are trained on ODS, ozone depleting substances management, on safety issues. 8 import permits were issued, and improved reporting and compliance with the Montreal Protocol also were also enhanced in 2023. Under the inspector and the sectoral services network, environmental mainstreaming across the sectors also were highly enhanced. Deeper integration into national development planning also. Under the agricultural and natural resources program, you have 9 ESMPs, environmental and social management monitorings of agricultural projects were conducted in 2023, and consultation for the establishment of local environment communities at the JEF 6 project site intervention sites in CRR North also were conducted. Expanded community engagement as well as monitoring also as well. The environmental education and communication program, 104 collaborated schools and 97 were visited. We visited all those schools. 3 radio programs conducted across the country, 50 radio programs held, and also increased school outreach and media coverage during the year under review. Environmental information system, which is the environmental EIS, GIS mapping, land use cover map of the 5 regions of the Gambia was developed. 4 maps developed included the administrative map for the Peace Corps in the Gambia, and also expanded GIS used for inspectors, and training also that training was also done to enhance inspector activities. Under the coastal and marine, monitoring at 32 sites from the Bara to Katong in terms of coastal and marine environment, improved coastal monitoring with stakeholders as well as community participation. So the donor-funded project, which some of them now are up, but the GCCA, the Global Climate Change Alliance, plus strengthen the climate resilience across the coastal and marine environment. Under the JEF 6 project, expanded land and marine protection in the northern part of CRR. Under the PCB, as I mentioned, PCB and UPOP project advance in regulatory framework as well as safety with respect to the use of PCB, polychlorinated biphenyls, which are found in transformers in our electricity sector. Overall project performance, capacity building focus, basically, and result-oriented implementation and reporting. Key achievement in 2023, high enforcement in terms of effectiveness, improved interagency coordination, as well as better compliance and reporting outcomes during the year. Key challenges, still the issue of funding has been an issue during the year, as well as logistic constraints persist. The issue of laboratory, which is a long process, also was a challenge during the year. And then we also need for the prosecution, particularly the police. We have the prosecution of the offended people usually take a long period of time, which we have no control in terms of what the judiciary and what we can do is to report or to put the case. But in terms of when it's supposed to be done, it's also another thing. So investment yield better outcomes. Actually, we also realize that putting certain resources in certain areas help a lot of better resources. Community engagement also help us in terms of compliance when it comes to environmental matters. And also realize that having a data-driven approaches help in terms of efficiency delivery in the work that we normally do. So overall performance, improved planning and coordination, stronger use of project resources, and enhanced staff capacity and systems. Strategic recommendation, consolidate the gains from the 2023 and strengthen the enforcement and financing mechanism and invest in the laboratory and digital systems, which also hopefully in 2024 we'll see a different improved mechanism with respect to that. So in basically 2023 also recorded a stronger overall performance, and then it also helped the agency in terms of effectiveness and efficiency use of resources and across the program which also improved program performance, as well as we also required a continuous support from this body in terms of how we can work together to address environmental problems that affect all of us. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's on page 4. Page 4. Independent auditors report to members of the National Environment Agency. Opinion. So the word qualified should be struck out. Huh? It's a typo. Okay. We have audited the financial statements of the National Environment Agency, which comprise the Statement of Financial Position as of 31st December 2023, and the Statement of Financial Performance, Statement of Changes in Net Assets, and Statement of Changes in Cash Flows for the year then ended, and notes to the financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statement gives a true and fair view of the financial position of the agency as of 31st December 2023, and its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and have been properly prepared in accordance with the NEM Act. The other ones are the same, just to highlight that the previous years were qualified opinions, but the issues were addressed in 2023, hence the clean opinion in 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The financial statement for the agency for the year ending December 2023 has a total income of 74.25 million, comprises of 13 million from the Gambia government subventions, fees and charges of 40.48 million, and other incomes of 20.771 million. The total expenditure for the same period is 51.60 million, of which wages, salaries, and employment benefit is 27.872 million, general and administrative expenses of 21.28 million, depreciation and amortization of 2.447 million. On page 8 is the statement of financial positions. Under the same financial year of 2023, the agency has a total non-current asset of 66.724 million, a total of 27.768 million of the current assets, leaving a total assets of 94.492 million. Under the same period also, the agency has a total accumulated fund and liabilities of the same amount of 94.49 million, of which total accumulated fund is 60.911 million. The total current liabilities of 28.581 million, and the total non-current liabilities of 33.58 million. In page 9, that's the statement of cash flows. Under the same year of 2023, the agency has a net cash from operating activities of 10.182 million, net cash used in financing activities of 5.471 million, so zero use on the in financing activities, leaving a net increase in cash and cash equivalent of 4.71 million, and a brought forward from last year of 3.49 million, leaving a year-ending balance of 8.204 million. The rest are the notes to the accounts. Thank you.
So I'll start from page 2. Page 2 of the management letter. Page 2. They are combined. The first point is inadequate receivable provision in policy and aging report. We noted a significant increase in receivables from 6.6 to 17 million in 2023. When we review the finance manual, the provision and in policy in there indicates that 2% will be provided on doubtful debts. Our observation is the policy does not provide clear guidance on the provision of receivables, aging of receivable, and is not consistent with best practice. Furthermore, there is no guidance or policy on the credit period of the agency, writing of debts that are irrecoverable, and monitoring responsibilities. Our recommendation is management should review the policy and include age brackets with provision in percentage for each bracket for general provisioning purposes. Furthermore, the policy should provide guidance on writing of debts and credit period. Management should also ensure that the aging report is regularly monitored and outstanding balances kept to a bare minimum. Point number 2 is a non-gazetting of some projects categorized as Class A. We have 2 of them there that are Class A projects, but they are not gazetted. The agency should ensure, our recommendation, the agency should ensure that all projects categorized as Class A projects are gazetted. Long outstanding impress is still coming up. As at the end of 2023 and at the time of our audit, we have impresses that have been outstanding, some for over 2 years, amounting to 108,269. Our recommendation is management should recover these balances from employees concerned as soon as possible. Adequate controls should be in place to ensure impresses are retired at least within 10 days after the completion of the event. Point 4, ex-staff loans not recovered. We have 45,000 relating to ex-staff that are still outstanding, not recovered. Our recommendation, these balances should be recovered from the former staff mentioned above. Management should ensure adequate measures are taken at the time of departure to ensure any balance due to the agency are recovered. Payment vouchers without recipient signature. We have a couple of them for various expense lines. Our recommendation is management should ensure payment vouchers are signed by the preparer and recipient as provided for in the payment vouchers. Point 6, lodgements not credited into the bank account or posted into the cash book. We have deposits in the cash book not in the bank statement amounting to 368,500. We also have a check withdrawal by one Mamadou for 10,000 is included in the bank reconciliation as a debit in the statement, not in the cash book. Details of this transaction was not provided for our review. We also noted 31 transactions amounting to 1.021705 in the reconciliation statement classified as credits in bank, not in cash book. This transaction, mostly cash deposits, were lodged into the bank account between June to December 2023 and have not cleared during the time of our audit. Furthermore, these funds have been utilized by the agency even though management is yet to confirm the source of these funds and the purpose. Our recommendation, management should pursue the above reconciling items with the bank and ensure they are cleared up as soon as possible. Reconciling items identified during the reconciliation process should be addressed immediately to avoid long outstanding items. On point 7, staff on study leave, we observed or we noted that the following staff on study leave were paid both basic salary and allowance. You have them for 2022 and 2023. Our recommendation, management should discontinue the payment of allowance to staff on study leave as they are entitled to basic salary only. Point 8, deficiencies in the management of fixed assets and work. Fixed asset verification exercise. We noted a verification exercise was conducted during 2023, but it only covered the branches. The head office was not included in the verification. The fixed asset register is not comprehensive as it does not contain the location and the custodian of the assets. We also noted assets grouped together and assigned one single code. Completion certificate of the laboratory building. According to subsection 3.6 of the building contract, payment of the final invoice can be effected by the agency after issuance of the certificate of substantial completion by the administrator. We requested for the certificate of the completion of the first floor to support the payment, but it wasn't provided. Our recommendation, the verification exercise should cover all assets of the agency and should be done at least annually. Fixed asset register, the assets with incomplete data in the register should be updated. Each asset should be assigned a separate code and a custodian. Management should obtain the completion certificate as stated in the contract before payment of the final invoice. Point 9, inadequate documentation of overseas travel. From our review of overseas international travel, we noted the following. Evidence of competitive bidding couldn't be seen in the procurement of air tickets. Boarding passes or copies of entry passes were not attached to payment vouchers to confirm travel for all international travels during the year 2022 and 2023. Recommendation, management should ensure that all future procurement of air tickets follow established procurement procedures, including obtaining documentary evidence of competitive bidding to promote transparency, fairness, and value for money. Additionally, finance and admin units should require boarding passes or entry documents to be attached to payment vouchers as mandatory supporting document for international travel claims. Inappropriate procurement method, point number 10. The agency hired the services of a quantity survey to value the land and building of the agencies in 2023. From the review of the procurement process, we noted the following. A request for quotation was used as the procurement method instead of a request for proposal, which is more appropriate considering this is a request for professional services. The evaluation report does not include the basis of the contract award, other than the fact that the awardee was the only bidder. The bids provided for our review contain a quotation for service. The experience of the firm and the qualification of the expert were not included in the bids provided for review. Our recommendation, management should ensure an appropriate procurement method is used in future procurements. Point number 11, payment of monthly sitting allowance without monthly meetings. The Admin and Finance Committee is supposed to meet quarterly with payment of allowance tied to these meetings. However, we noted that monthly sitting allowances were paid to the members of the committee throughout the year. An amount of 6,000 was paid per month per member for 6 members during the year 2023. Recommendation: management to discontinue the payment of monthly allowances to committee members with immediate effect. Sitting allowances should be paid quarterly and only when the committee meets. The orders from page 17 is a review of the prior period points. Thank you.
Secretary, do you have the subcopy of the report? Subcopy? Yes. Yes. For both activity, finance, and ML. We can send it to our class. I'm not, GPA, do you have anything?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. With regards to NEA, we've reviewed them. The report is at the draft stage. Currently, we have the audit cycle, which NEA falls under. So the report is currently at the draft stage.
Honorable members, we've exhausted the 3 reports, that's 21 to 23. As for GBA, they said the NEA reports are the draft stage. That means not ready for presentation. Any comment?
Yes, Chair, thank you very much. Yes, I think this will be an issue, and I think, I don't know how we're going to do this administratively, but I think the GPA must align our schedule with theirs, because if we let them go, or we review their reports without the GPA, then perhaps it will not be done until maybe next year or so. Because we are looking at 3 years now, and they cannot give us one completed report. That's going to be an issue. And I think the same issue was also highlighted with the central government. So I don't know, but we need to align, because otherwise we're going to keep having this issue. Institution will be reporting, but GPA cannot report on those institutions. Really, I think that would be a gap on our side. But if you look at the auditors, normally they concentrate more on other areas than the procurement, compliance and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think we need to try to align with the GPA just to ensure that we are able to deal with everything at the same time, like holistically, not in this way.
Okay, I think we'll take note of that. Then in our next schedule, then we will consult the assembly so that we align our schedule. Thank you.
Any comment, honorable members, before we are done for today? On that note, we've exhausted the presentations, and any schedule to appear tomorrow 10 for consideration of the said reports. So tomorrow the sitting will continue. So let's continue on consideration of the report that have presented. In the absence of no other business. And honorable member, I don't know whether you will still continue to deputize the honorable minister, but there should be presence of the board. Without the board, the meeting cannot proceed.
Cover it for her. So I would like to
tomorrow.
Tomorrow, what time?
I just October 10.
Okay.
Inshallah. On that note, honorable members, can any honorable member move that we adjourn the sitting till tomorrow 10 a.m.? Seconder? It has been moved and seconded that the sitting be adjourned until tomorrow 10 a.m. Those in favor, please say aye. And not in favor, please say no. Yes, on that note, I thank you, NEA and Audit, as well as members. The sitting is adjourned till tomorrow 10 a.m.